Okay, hello and welcome to the QAW Invited Talk series. We are back once again with new topics to discuss. And today we will be talking with our esteemed guest, Shri Hemant Padhe. Hemant Padhe is a mechanical engineer and MBA with 40 years of automotive industry experience who has dedicated 36 years to studying ancient Vedic scriptures, particularly the Taittiriya Upanishad and the Saankhya Yoga, successfully bridging the Vedic wisdom with contemporary scientific concepts through both knowledge and lived experience. About this forum, QAW invites uncompromising self inquiry each week. We discuss and share experiences about QAW verticals or horizontals, answered in your own words to gain clarity that reshapes life. What are the pillars of QAW? 1. The fictitious I to the PVM. Return from the inherited persona to the physical, vital, and mental integration, which is the true unit of existence. Second, Sanskriti and identity, Vyaktitva. Personal clarity linked with civilizational strength, identity as unique expression aligned with the civilizational state of Bharat and its inheritance. And finally, pain navigation to Samatva to action, pain as the engine of growth, equanimity leading to evolution centric action. What QAW provides? 1. A reconnecting framework that links the modern Bharatiya with the timeless and crucially evolutionary flow of knowledge and power. An integrated philosophy platform with living verticals, Utsav rhythms, evolution thought streams, Andaman cellular jail narratives, inspired poetic forms, cross questioning, debates, modern evidence across chronology, linguistics, navigation, geopolitics, geoeconomics, and technology, and a proposal for 100 Bharatiya civilizational flashpoint memorials of international standard. 3. A modern execution framework for self mastery. 4. Materials and guidelines to help Bharatiyas weather the identity struggle. And finally, the language commitment with ongoing work in Marathi, Malayalam, and Hindi. How the forum works: one topic a week and answers from your lived experience. Your words only, clarity over jargon. And finally, from self to civilization, map the physical, vital, mental structure to identity and to action. Outcome: realize identity, befriend pain, and act for evolution, aligning personal mastery with the timeless arc of Sanskriti. The objective of this invited talk series are twofold: to observe the derived general principles of QAW in the manifestation Vidya of the invited specialist, and to create a platform for a respected specialist to express the generality of philosophy, spirituality, and civilization hidden deep in their Vidya. Thanks one again. And now I hand over the stage to Sri Hemant Padhe to talk about Taittiriya Upanishad and Sankhya Yoga and his deep research for the last 35 years. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Aditya, and thanks to QAW Forum as well. So I will share my screen. I have prepared few slides, about 50 numbers, and we'll go through that in the next hour or so, or whatever time, little bit extra also if needed, we'll do that. And once my screen is visible, you can tell me, then I can start my presentation with that.
Yes, the screen is
Is it
visible. There
visible?
is a top bar. Maybe it will disappear. There is a blue color bar that is at the top. Last time.
Yeah. That has to go. So let me, yeah, it has gone. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
So good evening, guys, as well as good morning to guys in US. So what I am going to cover
Sorry
today,
to interrupt you, Hemant. There is another
yeah,
blue bar on the right hand side of yours. Yeah, that one. Yes, yes. Okay, so now it has gone reduced in size. Okay, it has moved to the top now. Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
yeah, because that I think will remain. I don't know how to get rid of that.
Okay, I think if you just share the slide and not the entire screen, I guess then it can. I think it will only show the slide. It will won't show anything else.
So shall I? No, let it be as it is.
Okay, that's
I
fine.
think,
Yeah, we
yeah.
can continue. Yeah, no problem.
So our today's topic is science of Taittiriya Upanishad and Sankhya Yoga. And the subtopic which I have added here is the decoding time, space, and consciousness, because both Taittiriya Upanishad and Sankhya Yoga, they are talking exactly time, space, and consciousness. And we'll discover that and we'll discuss that as we go through these slides. So what we are going to cover is invisible laws of operation of life energy in the universe. So, predominantly in my subsequent slides, I have taken three topics, which are basically the core topics for my presentation. So, first one is the invisible laws of operation of life energy in the universe. The second one is laws applicable to no mass entities, and I'll explain subsequently what is no mass entity or no mass entities. And also we'll talk about some entities which are no mass, no energy entities. So sometimes no mass entities may always have some energy in that. But there are also some entities where there is no mass, no energy. And we'll talk about that also in my subsequent slides. The third topic is I'm going to cover the science of subtle bodies or energy bodies. And both Taittiriya Upanishad and Sankhya Yoga, they predominantly talk about the laws governing the subtle bodies and energy bodies. So that's how I picked up these three topics again as a subset of the original topic. But I will come back to Taittiriya Upanishad very shortly. So my contents for today's presentation, I will talk about some references, approach, and methodology. Then a slide or two on Taittiriya Upanishad, a brief about Taittiriya Upanishad, then brief about Sankhya Yoga. Then I'll give an example of cosmic irreversible process, which is in summary in one page, you will understand how the process is irreversible and how we can reverse it. So with some example, I'll give this topic. Then I will try to compare Sankhya Yoga and Taittiriya Upanishad because they go hand in hand. I mean, they don't go into different directions. They go in hand in hand, but they talk to different, their point of views are totally different, and so it is very essential for us to understand and compare their contents so that we don't get confused and we don't get lost in the into jargons or the different philosophies. Apparently they are different philosophies, but when you go deeper they actually connect each other. Then I am going to do the analysis of four anuvaks of Taittiriya Upanishad and five shlokas of Sankhya Yoga and comparing with contemporary science. So I think my focus is also on the scientific part of it because I just don't want to go into philosophy and leave science behind. So I think they will go hand in hand. So this is a brief, what do you say, agenda or contents for the day. So before I start, I want to give a couple of quotes from Albert Einstein. The first one is his very famous quote: "Science without religion is lame, and religion without science is blind." So I think both of them they go hand in hand, and we need to really focus on both to take it forward. Then the second quote from him is, "The more I study science, the more I believe in God." So towards the end of his life, he made this quote that the more deeper I study science, I'm getting closer to the God or believing in God. And otherwise, it happens to other guys who go deeper with God. They at least they come to some scientific concepts at the end. So it is reversible. Whether you start from religious background, you will end up with science. When you start with science and go deeper, you will end up with God. So This is what you'll also observe in the subsequent slides. And one more famous quote from him: God is a mystery, but a comprehensible mystery. So I think that's why we are going to discuss today that the concepts which are mentioned in our scriptures, we are trying to get some meaning out of it, connect it with science, and try to find out answers for some of the questions faced by all of us. So my reference, I have taken two books which are very famous books. First one is on the Taittiriya Upanishad by H.N. Ramaswamy. This is a pretty old book, maybe 40, 50 years old, published maybe in 60s or 70s. But this is purely scientific. So there are many books on Taittiriya Upanishad, but this particular book only talks about science, scientific aspects of Taittiriya Upanishad. So I focused my attention on this book and then analyze the information, experience some of it, and then put forward my ideas into it. So that's what I'm going to cover today. And then the second book is on the Sankhya philosophy by Sri Chandra Banerjee. And this is also pretty old book in the sense maybe 18th century or early 19th century book. But it has an English commentary. Both the books have English commentary, and that's the reason I picked up these two. Plus, the content is very, very good. So some of the thoughts which I'm going to present are derived from them, plus some other scriptures. So overall approach and methodology is pretty simple. So study and analyze ancient scriptures, which is my step number one. Step number two is experience the knowledge mentioned in the scripture. So it is, as you said, Aditya, in the beginning, we need to really experience it. Otherwise, it becomes bookish and only concept. So experience it to whatever extent is possible, if not entirely 100%. Then cross-check the concepts with contemporary science. So this is the step number three, which I did in my entire analysis of so many years. That first study it, then experience it to whatever extent, then compare with the contemporary science, then connect and link the concepts with other ancient scriptures because there is a lot of interconnection between different philosophies. So fourth step is I try to connect it with different philosophies or different streams of philosophies what we have and cross check those concepts. So that was my step number four. And step number five is revisit again because once you are completing this loop, the next time when you read the same scripture, your approach is changed, your perception is changed. So many things you learn in this loop. So when you read it second time, probably you are going one layer below or one layer deeper into it. So like that, you have to do something like say 40, 50, 100 times this loop till you really come to the end. So this is what I have been following for so many years. And that's how my slides are also prepared. One more point I want to highlight here is there are two very key words which I am going to focus on. I think all of you must be knowing because I know you guys have been doing these sessions for a long time and you must have deliberated on all these concepts. But maybe there is a slight different perspective which I'm going to bring here. So one is Jnana and second one is Vijnana. So Jnana is nothing but knowledge which everybody is looking for through scriptures, through discussions, through whatever means we can try to get it. But Vijnana is very, very different. Vijnana means experience. So you cannot just focus on Jnana, but you also need to focus on Vijnana. So Jnana and Vijnana together only will take you. And Vijnana word is in today's world is viewed in a different way. But the ancient vocabulary, Vijnana means experience. So I think you need Jnana, knowledge, as well as Vijnana, experience. So only together, if you are going to go, then only you will realize some of the deeper concepts. Now, Jnana, again, is a kind of a textbook or through scriptures, your analysis, you can, and I can also explain whatever I have read and whatever is available in the scriptures. But Vijnana is what I cannot express 100% because it's an experience to whatever extent, maybe small, big, or whatever experience. but it cannot be put into words. So whatever I'm going to say, maybe Jnana I can reproduce 70-80%. Maybe Vijnan I can reproduce 40-50% because of the lack of words. I mean, you cannot really express what you experience. So, but they go hand in hand. So I wanted to give an emphasis on both these terminologies, which is very, very important for us to, if we want to go forward in this area. So overall scope of today's presentation, I have summarized. I have taken four shlokas from Taittiriya Upanishad, which we call Anuvak. So 1, 2, 3, and 5 I have picked up for today's discussion. Then Sankhya Yoga I have picked up five shlokas. Sankhya Karika I have picked up one shloka. Shiva Sutra I have taken four shlokas. And Mandukya Upanishad I have taken four shlokas. And the reason is these are all interconnected and interwoven with each other. And to understand some concept of Taittiriya Upanishad, we need to go to Shiva Sutra or Mandukya Upanishad and vice versa. And sometimes why I took these two topics together because Sankhya Yoga and Taittiriya Upanishad absolutely go hand in hand. So I cannot just focus on Taittiriya Upanishad and try to give a talk or try to share some concepts. So I have picked up, it's not very lengthy. As I said, I have about 40-50 slides. So in this, I have all put together and packed all this stuff into that. So, and I have used a very, very simple language so that anybody can understand what I'm talking. So I will go maybe little slower on the some of the concepts because I don't know, maybe depending on the readiness, probably you may find it is very, very basic or maybe something new also. So let's explore what is there inside. So brief about Taittiriya Upanishad. It has got three major vallis, what we call valli means I will give an explanation. The first one is the Shiksha Valli, where there are 12 anuvaks and they talk about causative factors of universe. That is, it's a purely scientific approach. And it talks about the causes, causative factors for the universe, how it was created and stuff like that, or how it got formed also. Then there is second stream which is called Anandavalli, which has got nine anuvaks, and they talk about formative principles of the universe, basically the way universe operates. So first one is how it was created, then second one is how it operates, and third one is the Bhrigu Valli. There are 10 anuvaks in that. And third one is very important because it talks about the methodology to realize and experience the operation of laws as pursued in thought. So this is how the entire Taittiriya Upanishad is broken down. And in my today's scope, I'm going to only talk about four out of the first, which is Shikshavalli, which talks about the knowledge part of it. Shiksha means the knowledge and or the education kind of thing. And again, because of the time available with us, I will only focus on four. But it is like if you understand these four, probably you'll get a glimpse of all these 12 plus 9 plus 10. So that's how it is structured. The Valli word is ascending thought creeper. It is a Sanskrit word which means like a whale or the creeper which goes as you learn more and more, that grows higher and higher. So it is ascending thought creeper. So they have used this word Valli. So that's how basically now onwards, whatever slides I'm going to show, you will have plenty of questions on each slide. And that's the intention actually, because the whole Taittiriya Upanishad works that way. The more questions, the more deeper you go, more number of times you get bogged down. That's a good sign that, okay, you're progressing. Because why it takes so many years to understand? Because the moment you feel you have understood everything, the next moment you realize that you don't know anything. Then again you get a good insight into it, and again you feel, "Arey, I have understood everything." The next day you realize that that is nothing. So that's how you continue your journey, and that's why it takes time. Though somebody will say 12 plus 9 plus 10, maybe a 2 days job, or maybe even a 2 weeks job, but no, it takes years and years to really understand how they are. What is the meaning or the deeper meaning of all these shlokas or the vallis and the anuvaks. So let me go to the next slide. Little bit about the I talked about little bit about the Taittiriya Upanishad. Now little bit about the Sankhya Yoga. This is only one slide I have. And if you see the second, this is there are 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, and they say the chapter 2, which is the Sankhya Yoga, is supposed to be the foundational knowledge or foundational conceptual understanding of the whole philosophy. Because they also say, forget whether I'm talking about Sankhya Yoga today or not, but they say if you understand second chapter of Gita, then you understand the whole Gita. You really connect with from second onwards all the way up to the 18th chapter by just understanding the second chapter. Now, why I have given some colors in green and some in yellow is green is chapter so 2, then 7, 8, and then 14, 16, 17 are purely Sankhya Yoga. Means 100% you can word to word connect concepts of Sankhya Yoga. And the yellow colors are the ones which are derived from Sankhya Yoga. So the some aspect of Sankhya Yoga, if you focus only on one aspect, which I am going to cover in subsequent slides, then it is a derived knowledge or an approach or a philosophy. So practically, if you see total number of verses, we have 701. So if you count the green ones, almost 55% uh, are, and if you see the verses or the shlokas where Lord Krishna has answered or given the guidance or philosophy, that percent is 62. So Sankhya Yoga is very, very predominant in our philosophy. It's a very, very ancient philosophy, you can say. And I'm going to use now Taittiriya Upanishad concepts and the Sankhya Yoga concept to build a kind of a approach or a framework, which you will see in the subsequent slides. Okay, so this is just one example I am giving because I attended one of the QAW program maybe a month back, and one speaker gave an analogy which I liked very much. So I have extrapolated that analogy or that kind of concept to further elaborate my point. So this is a very simple evolution of product. So you have milk and you add some starter culture to it and you make curd out of it. Now, this is a very simple process, but can you convert curd into milk? Very, very, very difficult. Maybe I'm not saying impossible, but chances are it has changed the form, it has changed the complete structure and everything. So going back from curd to milk is practically impossible. Then you add little bit of water and churn, and then you get butter and buttermilk. No, again, if somebody says, I have butter and buttermilk, can you make curd out of it? It is impossible, practically impossible. Maybe technology is advanced, somebody can do it, but for a common man to take butter and buttermilk and try to make a curd out of it is again an impossible process. Then you take butter and then you do a clarified butter or ghee out of it. Yes, that is, you heat and do the clarification process and you get ghee. Now somebody says, now I have a ghee, can you go back to butter and buttermilk? No, not possible because it has changed everything from the taste to texture to you name it, and it is a totally different form of the same earlier product. Now I take this ghee and light a lamp, and you ask that lamp, do you have any connection with the milk? And he says, no, no, I have no connection because he's lost the identity from where he started, and it is glowing, and he cannot trace back his origin. So this is just an example. The whole philosophy is like this actually. Now, on next slide, I'm going to connect the Sankhya Yoga and the uh, Taittiriya Upanishad, where from where we started and where we are today, and we don't know the origin, and we are differentiating ourselves from the origin because we've forgotten from where we came actually. So this was just a simple example to give an analogy with what I'm going to show on the next slide. So We talked about butter and ghee and milk on the earlier slide. Now we talk about the evolution of the life forms. We are one of the life forms. So let's see what was the evolution of that. Again, this is very, what do you say, briefly I'm doing, don't, I cannot put thousands of activities what happened from Big Bang or pre-Big Bang condition to where we are today. But in few words, just to convey my message, I have put together an analogy to the earlier example. So we have Big Bang condition, pre-Big Bang condition, and then Big Bang happens, and you have primordial matter. Uh, Now somebody says, "Hey, I have primordial matter. Can I go to the Big Bang, pre-Big Bang condition?" No, not possible. The Big Bang has happened. You cannot really now with that primordial matter. You cannot really go back to Big Bang or a pre-Big Bang condition. It is impossible. Same like earlier example. Then the interaction with the primordial matter happens, and you have energy, mass, and cosmic intelligence produced out of it. Now, some people call it time, space, and consciousness also. And but energy and mass certainly everybody agrees. And cosmic intelligence people may doubt, but I will explain what it means in the subsequent slides. And this is not my original thinking. This is coming from our scripture. So that's what I'm trying to put it here. So please do not think that I am adding any stuff from my side. I am just taking the scriptures and trying to put it into slides in a very simplified manner so that everybody understands. So assume that there is energy, mass, and cosmic intelligence or time, space, and consciousness which evolved out of primordial matter. Now somebody says, I have energy, I have mass. Can you make it primordial matter? No science or no scientist has ever gone reverse way to go back to the primordial matter or to pre-backing conditions with what are currently available with us. Then what happened next? Then the interactions with time space consciousness. Then there is, so in between few steps I have skipped actually. So just to prove and just to cut short the overall this thought process. So existential dynamic stability of mass and energies, that was the outcome, and that is what the life forms actually came into being. And what is that? Supporting form, supporting awareness of form, supporting knowledge, supporting creative potential, and supporting the essence, which I am going to discuss in my subsequent slides. Again, this is a irreversible process. I said, okay, so I have form. Can I go back from my form to mass and energy or cosmic intelligence or consciousness, or going backward into the time to pre-bang, Big Bang conditions? Not possible. Then the existential dynamic stability of mass and energy is created subtle bodies and gross bodies, which is what we are today. So we are today here. But can we go back to this? No. But let me tell you one good thing here is this guy sitting here. Let me just bring my cursor so that show pointer view, pointer options, laser option. So this guy sitting here has the capability to travel through this whole process and go through the primordial matter to pre-Big Bang condition, and he can experience this pre-Big Bang condition, which is so to say called nothingness. But I will tell you, our scriptures don't talk about nothingness as nothingness, because nothingness is also something. So that they are mentioned in Sankhya Yoga. But the good point is this guy can understand. So through knowledge, through the process, which I will explain in my subsequent slides, he can travel backwards and finally come here and experience this state. And that's what is the entire religion about. So this is in one slide, I'm trying to explain that what is our objective and how we can travel backward in time or backward in time, understanding concepts at every stage, linkages, how it came, why it came, and the whole what is the nitty-gritties of that. And then you come to this pre-Big Bang condition of nothingness, and that is not actually nothingness, but I will explain that in my subsequent slide. So I think my point is, I think everybody must have understood what I'm trying to convey here is a process which we all are doing in our religious journey, or what, so to say, the quest for knowledge and we are actually going backward in time because we must know from where we started. The lamp must know where he came from, like from the milk or even beyond milk. So that's how we are trying to do it here. So let me move to the next slide. Okay, so here I'm going to talk about life energies and their interaction. Okay, this is like little busy slide, but in one slide I had tried to put the complete framework. So I earlier slide I gave about simple example, but I'll now use some technical words which are given in the scriptures. Brahma, we call it Brahma, or the pre uh, Big Bang condition. Let's call it Brahma. Hypothetically call it Brahma for the time being. The Sankhya Yoga calls it Purusha, but that's the starting point. From there came the Prakriti, which I explained on my earlier slide also, primordial matter. From there came the cosmic intelligence, which is called Mahat. So I will explain that in when I go to Sankhya Yoga. Out of this emerged three cosmic realities in the process. So I'm going now forward process, but as an individual, we have to go reverse process to reach to that state. Then, as I mentioned, mass, energy, and intelligence came out. Then four fundamental forces emerge out of interaction between mass, energy, and intelligence. So these are the four fundamental forces. Space-time, individual consciousness. So we are talking about body, thoughts, and feelings. So now we are coming to the life forms, the counterparts of Mars, energy, and intelligence. Then there are interactions of this space-time consciousness. There are 50 varieties which emerge out of the interaction of these three basic fundamental or the cosmic realities. And we'll talk about that in my explanation about the Taittiriya Upanishad. And from here, there are seven energy flows plus one dynamic equilibrium center plus five existential dynamic stabilities and a great grand dynamic stability of existence. So if somebody understands this structure, I would say he is very close to the original condition. So this is what is even also mentioned in Gita, that if you understand the real nature of the God in terms of three tattvas or time space consciousness are the three basically rajo, tamo, and sattva. So we call it in a different way in Gita, but in different way in Taittiriya Upanishad and a different way in Sankhya Yoga, but they're all same. So this, and then the final culmination happens with the four growing, I think it is something is getting hidden here, four growing patterns of three cosmic realities plus Mahat. So if you understand this whole flow, this is basically the Taittiriya Upanishad put into one slide actually, so that my entire presentation, subsequent presentation is going to go deeper and deeper into all these concepts in few slides. I will not make it very lengthy as I mentioned in the beginning, and we'll finally understand what it means to understand the four growing patterns, or we call it vyavruti. So vritti. Uh, so we'll talk about it in the subsequent slide. Simultaneously, now let me go into the second aspect. The second aspect, which now talks about Sankhya Yoga. So the top portion is the Taittiriya Upanishad, the bottom portion is the Sankhya Yoga in one slide. So what it says is from the primordial matter, there was an emergence of 16 principles, or they call it evolutes. And from cosmic intelligence, a group of seven, they call it seven evolvents. So 16 plus 7 is what? 23 plus Prakriti and Mahat. Sorry, Mahat is also part of the seven. So it's Prakriti and Brahma. So 25. So Sankhya Yoga is a combination of 25 qualities. So first one is the Purusha, second one is the Prakriti, then is the Mahat. Mahat gets split into seven evolvents, and primordial matter gets into principle, 16 principle or 16 evolutes. Now, what is evolvent? Evolvent is that which is produced and produces. So which is produced by the earlier phenomena or the earlier state, and then it has got the qualities to also produce something beyond. Evolute is what? That which is produced but does not produce. So it stops there. It cannot produce further, is what is called evolute. So there are 16 evolutes, which means they are produced but they cannot produce further. And there are 7 evolvents, which are produced also from the cosmic intelligence, and they can produce further, and we'll understand what they can produce further. So the next step here is this group of 7. We have one is called Ahankara, second one is Buddhi, and third one is Tanmatras. And these are a little bit technical words. Tanmatras, very few people may know or might have heard about it, but is one of the evolvents which comes out of the cosmic intelligence as a part of the process, and that's how the group of 7 is calculated. Out of the 16 principles, also 3 entities come. One is the manas, or the man, or the mind, what we may call it, 10 indriyas, and 5 mahabhutas. So if you add this up, as I said, it is a total of 25, and that's the Sankhya Yoga. Now we just try to connect. I'll give only 2 or 3 examples how we connect it. So if we suppose split this, then this is the gross body and this is the subtle body. So if you split it into 2 types of bodies, or what we have, gross and subtle, then man, ahankar, buddhi, tanmatras, they are the part of the subtle bodies. And your indriyas and mahabhutas, they are part of the gross body. Now, if you further connect it, 5 tanmatras and 5 existential dynamic stabilities from 2 different streams of thoughts, 2 different themes of philosophies, but they connect each other. They are same. In Sankhya Yoga, they are called tanmatras. In Taittiriya Upanishad, it is called 5 existential dynamic stabilities. So we'll explain this in the subsequent slides. And I will give another example. The cosmic intelligence, or what we call is Mahat, and the 4 growing patterns of 3 cosmic realities plus Mahat. So both again talk as a culminating point, that, and you'll realize it all boils down to Mahat. So we'll understand what is Mahat also. So both Taittiriya Upanishad and Sankhya Yoga finally will talk about Mahat and how to break it and how to go beyond that Mahat. So that's the, because Mahat is the biggest hurdle. Without crossing the cosmic intelligence, you cannot go to Prakriti, you cannot go to Brahma. Brahma is not here, it is Brahma, not Brahma. Brahma is cosmic space, but Brahma is the primordial principle. So, 2 different things. So, second example I will give is the, okay, I have given 2 examples here. So, now let me start with the actual Taittiriya Upanishad, 4 shlokas or 4 anuvakas I have taken. No, I really don't know, because I am only doing one-way delivery and I'm not too sure whether everybody is with me or not. So, can we just take a break for few seconds and understand whether I am going right, wrong, covering enough, or should there be a stop for questions? So I leave it to Aditya, you, if you think
No,
it
I
is
think,
going.
yeah, I think we are following. There was actually a good clarification that happened early on, because I was little confused initially when I heard the word Sankhya, because Sankhya in the Bhagavad Gita, Sankhya Yoga and the Sankhya philosophy of Kapil Muni is different in some sense. Is it right? Because I think Sankhya philosophy assumes multiple Purushas. And Sankhya Yoga of Bhagavad Gita is talks only about one Purusha. Is that understanding correct?
Yes, yes, there is only one Purusha. Both of them, they talk about the same thing.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So there
Yeah.
is only one. But Sankhya fundamentally is a dualistic philosophy, correct?
No, no, no.
Oh, Sankhya is also Advaiti, a non-dualistic philosophy.
Yes,
I see. Okay, okay.
yes. So can we move forward
Yeah, we
then?
can move forward. Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. So you may stop me in between, because I don't know. I'm just going with my pace and assuming that things are, I'm explaining the way I'm thinking. Maybe I don't know if the audience is with me or not. So
Sure.
maybe we can take a break in between to just understand whether we are on the same page.
Yeah, if there is anybody has a question, you can raise your hand. We can take a quick segue and
Because these are pretty complex topics, and if I just deliver one way, and at the end you'll get completely lost in the flow, because so many things I'm going to cover in for 40, 50 slides.
sure. I think Anand, you want to say something?
Yes.
Yeah, Hemant, essentially, I mean, I would request you to go a little slower and ensure that you have covered all the items that you have put on the slide at least two times. That way, the viewer can be absolutely sure that he has knowledge of all the items that you have put on one slide before we go on to the next. So I would just request you to go a little slow on the blocks that you have put on each slide, and if you can repeat them a couple of times at least. That's my request.
Okay, understood. So should I go back in that case to back to that original very complex slide, because that is the only complex slide I have. Otherwise, remaining slides may not be so
Uh,
complex.
yeah, I would request you. I would request you to please go back and do it one more time.
Okay, so here on this slide, I have tried to club together two different philosophies, which is the Taittiriya Upanishad and also the Sankhya Yoga. And both starting point is same, which is Brahma, which is primordial principle. And in current scientific terminology, it is the pre-Big Bang condition. Let's call it pre-Big Bang condition, though we also call it nothingness. But that nothingness is very clearly defined in Sankhya Yoga, that it is not really the nothingness, but it's a dormant state, which I am going to cover in my subsequent slides. So that Brahma is nothing but a dormant state, which is as good as nothingness, but in scientific term, it is the pre-Big Bang condition. From there, the assume that Big Bang happened, and then the Prakriti was created, or Srushti was created, which we call it primordial matter, because Srushti did not happen in one day. There was a kind of a interaction with the energy particles for hundreds and thousands of years, and that interaction, then Higgs boson, so to say, came into picture. Then the actual matter started forming, and so I will not go into details, but from primordial matter, the cosmic intelligence came as a part of the initial formation. But the three cosmic realities emerged after a lot of interaction with the fundamental energy particle in the Higgs field, so to say, in the current terminology. And there are 17 fundamental energy particles. So I'll not go again deeper into it, but since you asked me to go a little deeper, I'll just cover it here. So that cosmic realities, which is nothing but mass, energy, and intelligence, uh, of course, mass and energy emerged out of it, and then the intelligence emerged out of the cosmic intelligence. And then so when I say intelligence, means you just take say solar system. So the cosmic intelligence may be for galaxies and the whole of cosmos, but your local intelligence is just your solar system. So the intelligence of the solar system and the mass and energy of the solar system you can just consider as a subset of the overall cosmic intelligence, and life forms are even subset of the solar system. So that's how the intelligence is getting percolated from the Brahma or the Purusha to the Prakriti to Srushti, so to say. Then cosmic realities, then mass, energy, intelligence, also called time, space, and individual consciousness. And then emerge the at a individual level, body, thoughts, and feelings. So this is how the whole what do you say, cosmic realities percolated down to the life forms in the form of body, thoughts, and feelings. So that's the substance here, which is emerging as per the Taittiriya Upanishad. And 50 variants of three cosmic. So when this time space consciousness at an individual level gets multiplied, on also on a cosmic level gets multiplied, there are 50 variants, which which is a process by itself, which is covered in my subsequent slides. So please do not think that this is the beginning and the end of my presentation. There are individual boxes, there are slides for that, how the whole process works out. So that my idea is that everybody understands and takes some concepts along with them at the end of the presentation. So it should not be just the going through different jargons and trying to put some complicated stuff here. In fact, I'm trying to simplify it because nowhere else you'll find such simplification. I'm not saying this because I have struggled myself. I never found something, so I created something of my own. So this is a very simplistic language of what the whole textbook says, or the entire Upanishad says. We have tried to put two Upanishads in one slide actually. Then these 50 varieties with their interaction create 7 energy flows plus one dynamic equilibrium center, which is explained in the subsequent slides, and also existential dynamic stability. So see, energies are not stable because they are, you cannot catch energy. It is continuously moving. It is an unstable thing, you can say, because if you go to the tiniest part of the energy, which is the most unstable, so it has a, we call it dual mm, it is vibratory also, as well as so there is a dual I am forgetting the terminology, but this is the theory by there is a Schrodinger who's given the theory. So if I remember that word, I will come back to you. So that energies are not stable, but they are stable. They are put into a kind of a structure in the whole evolution process, that they have actually inside the life forms, they are pretty stable. So we'll understand how that stability comes. And because of 5 different dynamic stabilities put together by one more supreme energy, which makes it one great grand dynamic stability of existence. So that is the third layer here. If you go further down, then out of this emerges 4 growing patterns of 3 cosmic realities plus Mahat. So Mahat is what you'll see Mahat at the bottom also, left hand side, and Mahat on the top on the right hand side. So there is a connection between this. Now let me go to the Sankhya Yoga. So Sankhya Yoga has a different stream which directly evolves from Brahma or Purusha, then Prakriti, then cosmic intelligence, also part of the interaction between the primordial matter and the primordial principle, so that intelligence evolves. And then at the life it jumps. So the beauty is Sankhya Yoga directly jumps to the life forms, right? Taittiriya Upanishad goes through the complete formation process and then comes to the life form. So life forms here is on the top right hand side in the Taittiriya Upanishad, but in Sankhya Yoga it is directly emerged because these 16 principles and 7 evolvents, or 16 evolutes and 7 evolvents, are directly for the form, life form. They are not, of course you can find them elsewhere, we'll talk about it, but predominantly they are for the life form. So again, the definition of evolvent is that which is produced and produces. So it is produced from the predecessor and it is ready to have something beyond them. They can produce, interact with each other and produce something. While the evolvents are, sorry, the evolutes are that which is produced and does not produce. So it can produce, it is produced as a product, byproduct, but it cannot further break down and produce something else. While the evolutes or evolvents are which can be produced and which are produced and which can produce something. And we'll see the example. Now the example is evolvents. We have 3 types here: Ahankar, Buddhi, and Tanmatras. So 5 Tanmatras. And I will explain what is Tanmatras and when we go to Sankhya Yoga. And then we also have Manas. Manas means man or mind. Then 10 Indriyas and 5 Mahabhutas. So this is how the total is 25. Now, if we just take them apart, you have subtle body and gross body. So your subtle body has one man, one ahankar, one buddhi, and 5 tanmatras, where your gross body has 10 indriyas, which has got karmendriya, 5 karmendriyas, and 5 Jnanendriyas. So total 10 Indriyas and Mahabhutas. So again, I am not breaking it down because subsequent slides there is much more details given on this topic actually. And if you want to connect these tanmatras to the existential dynamic stabilities, yes, there is a big connection. In fact, they are same actually. So only the names are different. It is like physicist saying something about the same type, same particle, and a chemical engineer or a chemist or chemistry guy talking about the same. So they're totally different angles. So like that, these are two different philosophies, but talking about the same stuff. Same is with the Mahat. Mahat is also mentioned as cosmic intelligence in Sankhya Yoga. And Mahat is also mentioned in Taittiriya Upanishad as the supreme energy structure which governs the remaining three varieties or vyavrutis, what we call it. Vyavrutis means vritti word you might have heard in the, most of you must have heard it in the Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, the very first verse talk about the vrittis. Vrittis are nothing but the vibrations, and the vibrations which takes different forms. So the layers and the structure which evolves out of your energy or subtle body is called vritti. And how do you control vritti? Through Mahat. So that is how the Taittiriya Upanishad talks about, while the Sankhya talks about Mahat getting broken down into Buddhi and some further like evolutes and evolvent. So two different angles. So I guess I covered this. Maybe more will come in greater details in the subsequent slides. Yes, Anand. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, just one quick one before we proceed. If you couldn't just mention right now the four fundamental forces, that is one question. Second question is there a place in this slide for what we call the will, the cosmic will? So these are the two questions. Thank you.
Yes. So the four fundamental forces are covered in my next couple of slides later. You will find them in a very detailed and very logical manner. And yes, so there is a cosmic will, which is nothing but cosmic intelligence, and it actually everything is programmed. So that you understand that program, that Mahat or cosmic intelligence, then you will just surrender to that. So it is nothing, there is a program, everything is destined, everything is controlled by this cosmic intelligence, and subsequently the local subsystem intelligence and the individual level intelligence. So we'll come to that subsequently. So I think both the questions we just park for time being because they are covered
Sure,
subsequently in the other slides.
sure. Thank you.
So we go to Taittiriya Upanishad now. So I will just read this quickly. This is the first Anuvak. Maybe I may not be very good in reading it, but Om Sham No Mitra Sham Varuna Sham No Bhavatvaryama Sham Na Indro Brahaspati Sham No Vishnu Rurukrama Namo Brahmane Namaste Vayo Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahma Vadishyami Rutam Vadishyami Satyam Vadishyami Tanmavatu Tvadvaktaram Avatu Mam Avatu Vaktaram Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So this is the Shanti part, which is the very first Anuvak of the Taittiriya Upanishad. Apparently pretty simple Upanishad, sorry, the Anuvak, but it's the most difficult to understand. Let me explain why it is the most difficult to understand, because once we understand this, then the subsequent Anuvaks may be little easier for us to understand. So they're talking about one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight energies here. They're talking about Mitra, they're talking about Varuna, they are talking about Aryama, they are talking about Indra, they are talking about Brihaspati, Vishnu, Brahma, and Vayu. So there are talking about eight different energies in this Shantipata. And what are these eight energies? Let us go one by one. So I have also put translation, but I will not go through. So Mitra is nothing but the cosmic externalizing power. Varuna is the cosmic internalizing power. Then cosmic energy of direction is the Aryaman. So that is the, I will explain again. Man has two directions. It's one inward and one is outward. So which way, what is the direction of your thoughts? Are your thoughts going outwards or your thoughts are coming inwards? If they are coming inwards, what is the energy which is asking them or bringing them inside? And what is the energy which is making your thoughts go out of your mind? It is not an automatic process. See, somebody has to work, some energy has to work inside your mind or inside you, which is throwing thoughts outside and throwing or bringing or absorbing thoughts inside. It's a process. So that process, there is a energy which works on that process. So cosmic external thought energy is Indra, and Brihaspati, the cosmic internal thought energy. So when you are taking thoughts from outside in, Brihaspati is working for you. And when you are, Brihaspati means as an energy is working for you. And when you are actually thinking outwards, your thoughts are going from inwards to outwards, then Indra is helping you to do that. Indra is nothing but the cosmic external thought energy. Now, Vishnu, the cosmic power of order, which is actually controlling all these energies as a central agency or a central, what do you say, the power. Brahma, of course, is the cosmic space. So now this Brahma is Brahma, not Brahma. Brahma is, which we talked earlier in the earlier slide. This is Brahma is the cosmic space here. And then, of course, Vayu is the cosmic oscillating life energy. So what this Shantipatra is saying is, oh, Vayu, okay, what he's saying is that all these energies, let there be a kind of a harmony in all these things. Uh, what is it? Let that life energy of the universe descend into me concretely. Let that life energy descend into all the created forms concretely. Let the descent be onto me. Let the descent be onto other. Om, peace, peace, peace. So, what we are trying to say is, let this, for me to survive, let this all energies be in harmony. So that is the Shanti Pata. Now, what are these energies? We need to really understand. So this Shanti Pata is saying, okay, I must be what do you say, controlling, balancing all these different energies for me to really work efficiently or to achieve my goals and stuff like that. But what are these energies? So I have actually drawn it here. So this is of course cosmic space, which is Brahma. So cosmic energy of direction, Arya Mana. Mana is your mind. Mind has two directions, outward and inward. And who is controlling? Cosmic internal thought energy is Brihaspati. Cosmic external thought energy is Indra. Cosmic externalizing power, which is Mitra. And cosmic internalizing power is Varuna. So basically, I am actually, how am I getting connected to the another form or any form which is outside of me? By using cosmic externalizing power, I am able to, which is called Mitra, which is I am able to connect my, what do you say, the principle of substantiality. So I'm able to connect that with the center of the other form, and vice versa with the help of cosmic internalizing power, Varuna. I am able to actually connect the other form to my center, which I'll explain in my subsequent slides. Then we have cosmic power of order Vishnu, and of course cosmic oscillating life energy, which is Vayu. So this is how the whole structure works, as just as an example. Now we will deep dive on these energies in my subsequent slides, basically. So once you understand these concepts, then let me just summarize them for the simplicity purpose. So we talked about Brahma, Indra, Brihaspati, Aryaman, Mitra, Varun, Vishnu, Vayu. Now, how are they connected to the cosmic reality? So Brahma is space, Indra, Brihaspati, Aryaman is connected to time, Mitra, Varuna, Vishnu, Vayu are connected to consciousness. We already defined them, what exactly it is. And how are they correlated to your self or human beings? Brahma is nothing but body. Indra, Brihaspati, and Aryaman, they are nothing but your thoughts. And Mitra, Varuna, Vishnu, and Vayu are your feelings. So, just to summarize, this may look very easy, but it takes really deep thinking to really connect all these things to our time space consciousness and find your way out of it. So this summary is just for the information. I will not complicate the matter here. We'll simplify it in the next slide. But this is the connection currently between the seven energy flows, which I mentioned in my first Anuvak, and then connecting it to the human beings. Okay, we come to the second Anuvak, which is pretty simple. I will just read the English version of it. Om, we will expound the external state of existence of form, Shiksha. They are classified according to shape, self-luminosity, creative vibrancy, rhythm of energy balance. Thus are mentioned the perception of elemental states. This is the second perception. So this is the second Anuvak. Very pretty simple. But I will tell you this is more complex than the first one actually, because now I'll have to go into a different scripture to find the answer ki what is actually the shape, luminosity, self-luminosity, and creative vibrancy and perception of elemental states. So we are talking about elemental states of time, space, and consciousness. So what is the elemental state of space? What is the elemental state of time? And what is the elemental shape, space of what elemental state of consciousness? So for these to understand, let me now go to Shiva Sutra and Mandukya Upanishad, and then we'll again come back to Taittiriya Upanishad. That's how it will simplify. Otherwise, for me to explain also in the only with the help of Taittiriya Upanishad, it will be very difficult. So it's a pretty simple Shiva Sutra. I have taken verses 7, 8, 9, and 10 of the first chapter. It's talking about basically four states here: Jagruta Avastha, Swapna Avastha, Sushupti, and Turiya Avastha. So basically four states of, you can say, your subtle body, or you can say even for your gross body. I will just read the English text. For yogi, the expansive state of Turiya occurs in all states, waking. So basically, he says that the guy who has reached Turiya state, for him, Jagrat, Swapna, and Sushupti, there is no differentiation for him. He is only always in Turiya state. The second one is external organic knowledge constitutes the waking state. So this is very nicely explained in the subsequent slides. So I will just read this out here as one-liners, and then we'll go to the deeper meaning of it. Then Swapna Vikalpa, it says internal perception and thought comprise the dreaming state, and forgetfulness and negation of awareness is the dreamless state of Maya. So aviveko Maya. So let me go to the next slide here. So I have simplified it in a PPT format: Jagrata Avastha, Sapna Avastha, Sushupti, and Turiya, and then we'll deep dive on these four. So we'll first talk about the time. What is the time aspect of four states? So in a Jagrut state, your time or your thoughts are linear and focused. In Swapnavastha, they are non-linear and fluidic. In Sushupti, there's absence of time as a distinct experience. There's a time will elapse because time is time, it will elapse, but absence of time as a distinct experience. So you will not experience when you're in Sushupti or this particular deep sleep state. And Turiya is timeless. Time stops. There's no time is not progressing. It is elapsed because you are now in that Brahma, the primordial or the pre-Big Bang state. There only you will experience this Turiya state. If you are going travel backwards into whatever the slide which I showed in the beginning, that will happen only when your time stops, because then you are going into the dormant state of time, space, and consciousness. So regarding the consciousness, first one in Jagrut Avastha, the consciousness is called Vaishwanara. I think you might have heard uh, this particular word, because it is also there in Gita and also in Mandukya Upanishad. That's why I took the Mandukya Upanishad. So consciousness is turned outward to the external world. So that is called Vaishwanar. In Swapnavastha, it is Tejas, where consciousness is turned towards the inner world. So your consciousness is going inside, inwards, and that is in the Swapnavastha it happens. It's called Tejas. And in Sushupti, it is called Prajna, which is undifferentiated consciousness, neither the desire for any gross object nor any dream sequence. So you don't have any dream sequence in Sushupti, nor you have any desire for any gross objects. So that's the Prajna, that type of consciousness. So these are the three different states of consciousness. And in Turiya, consciousness is neither turned outward nor inward, nor it is both outward and inward. It is beyond both cognition and the absence of cognition. So now let me go back the slides which I shown. Now you will be able to correlate with that. This slide which we discussed two times. So you are in up to here. Turiya stage is going beyond this. So let me just bring my cursor here again. So as long as you have the consciousness, you are stuck here. When you are going beyond consciousness, that is this Turiya state, then you are entering into this primordial principle state. So basically, no consciousness. You have to leave consciousness behind to come back to that Turiya state. So that is what that statement is saying. Let me just go to that quickly. Okay. So I hope my screen is refreshing in real time so that you guys are able to catch up with what I'm saying. Otherwise, there is sometimes some lag between what I'm presenting and what you're seeing.
No, the
So
screen
we
is
were
really
here that consciousness is neither turn outward nor inward, nor it is both outward and inward. It is beyond both cognition and the absence of. So this is pretty, any textbook will show you this. Anand, just give me 1 minute and then I'll come back to your question. Just hold on for a minute. Let me finish this slide and then I'm open for any question. So in English language, I have mentioned wakefulness, dream, deep sleep, and restful sleep. Okay. And here Vaishwanar is nothing but activity, Tejas is intelligence, and Prajna is inertia. Now I'll take one real life example so that you'll understand thoughts and time. So in your Jagrut state, your thoughts and time, they are almost going parallel, almost same lane, same experience you are getting in real time basis. In Swapnastha, your thoughts may be much longer. It is non-linear, which is mentioned there already. Non-linear. I'll give an example. You may have a very long dream sequence, but the duration may be only 1 minute or 2 minutes. So you may live, travel, eat, visit, talk, chat with so many, but actually in real time, your time elapse is very small. So in Swapnavastha, your thoughts are much longer than your actual time. And in Sushupti, it is exactly reverse. You sleep for 8 hours, but time elapses 8 hours, but your realization is only maybe you just slept and then you just got up. Maybe you have a feeling for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, because you are not able to be. I'm talking about deep sleep. So you are not able to really catch up with the time and you are slow down. So this is a simplistic language I have put together that how time is having different situations. Somewhere it is exactly same length as thought and time. Somewhere it is thoughts are longer and time is shorter. Somewhere it is time is longer and thoughts are shorter. And in Turiya state, no time, consciousness is there, but you have to leave it. In fact, it says neither consciousness, so there is no consciousness also here, and time stops. So basically, this box should be nil here actually, but I have put something here. But now we come back to Anand. So Anand, you have some question. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. Hemant, could you please precisely define what you mean by consciousness in your particular presentation? Because this word is heavily loaded now in so-called spiritual literature, and consciousness is termed, I mean, understood as Atma or other things, basically. So I believe the consciousness terminology that you have used here is more towards the awareness of a jiva. If you mean something more than that or less, kindly specify. Thank you.
Yeah. So I will tell you, I have not used any of my what to say knowledge here. I am just reproducing, so to say, so far whatever is mentioned in the scripture. So I am exactly going by the, and I'll give you the examples for. So I have backup for everything. So my, if you see my next slide, I am actually from Mandukya Upanishad. I have taken the text, which I will not go through because I have already explained it on the earlier slide here. But I am going by the text with simplification from my side. So my contribution is simplification and understanding it correctly and reproducing it. That is what I'm trying to do today. I'm not going into the actual definitions of consciousness or time or space because there may be many definitions and there may be, so all this different which even between Sankhya Yoga and Taittiriya Upanishad, the language is different, the terms are different. Even Mandukya Upanishad is using some terminology which Sankhya is not using, but we have to understand it as a principle and not get too much into the vocabulary part of it. In the sense, somebody is calling it Purush, somebody is calling it soul, somebody is calling it Atma, somebody is calling it Purush. But in principle, we have to understand that the framework is this. In this framework, I am working. In this framework, I have to understand the realities of the life, from where I came, who am I, where I am going, what am I supposed to do. All those things we need to answer for ourselves once we understand the framework, rather than because definitions I'm not giving anywhere. I'm just giving the text which is given in the scriptures. So far, I have not used any of my own knowledge apart from the simplification.
Yeah, I think just to add here about consciousness, I guess what question Anant is also asking is what is the, because consciousness is an English word, and it has been used loosely for many different, say, even Satchidananda, we say existence, consciousness, and bliss. So is this consciousness referring to the Chit aspect of Satchidananda, or is it referring to the Brahma, or is it referring to the Atma? So that's, I think, or is it referring to the state of Pradnya? I think that's the question. Because when we say that Turiya has no consciousness, we're just trying to understand how are you defining consciousness here?
So I will answer this by asking a question and then you guys can answer it. So when you say you have realized, then who has realized? Is it your body? Is it your mind? Is it your consciousness? Or who realizes it? So I say I have realized the God, or I have realized the truth, or whatever you may call it. Then who actually realizes it? Is it body? Certainly not. Is it your mind? Certainly not. Is it your consciousness? Certainly not. Because you're not realized. The realization is not the realization actually, because you are now in a state of nothingness. So there is neither your body nor your consciousness nor your feelings, thoughts, nothing. Nobody can realize the reality. So let us not get what do you say, stuck with this concept of consciousness. I think it will evolve as if, let me finish my slides. If at all still it is not answered, then certainly we'll come back to this topic again.
Okay, sure.
As
Please.
I said, my every slide should at least have one question in generate, should at least generate one question in your mind, or more is better, because too much stuff we are trying to cover in too little time, and certainly there will be questions. So I'm maybe I don't know when to answer them, but we'll try as much as possible. We'll try to answer these questions. Okay, so let me just now I'm again coming back to the time, space, and consciousness as per Taittiriya Upanishad. So now I explained something, some concepts of time, space, consciousness, and how different time behaves differently in different states, and how consciousness behaves differently in different states. And of course, space is your body, which is a Panchamahabhuta. So if you see, thus individually elements, thought, time, space, consciousness can multiply in two dimensions because they are different tattva. They cannot mix with each other. They can multiply with each other, but they cannot mix. So time and space cannot mix. Space and consciousness cannot mix because they're different entities, different ingredients uh, of the life form. But time can multiply with time. Space can multiply with space. Consciousness can multiply with consciousness. So if we take space and we have five Panchamahabhuta, Vayu, Agni, Jal, Prithvi, Tej, or we call it atmospheric, fiery, fluidic, substantial, and etheric or ethereal. So they can multiply and make a 2 by 2 matrix. So you can have distinct 25 varieties. You may say millions of varieties can happen, but there are documented and mentioned in the scriptures that it can multiply 2 by 2 to make 25 varieties of space. So for example, let me just again bring my cursor. So if you take ethereal and atmospheric, there is one combination. Similarly, Prithvi Tattva and Agni Tattva combining to make one more variety. So space can have 25 different varieties at an elemental level or a thought level. We are now going into the elemental state. If you see the second Anuvak of Taittiriya Upanishad, it said you try to understand at an elemental level. Now we have gone to the elemental level basically. At elemental level, it can interact with each other and can have 25 varieties of space at, at elemental level, at a thought level, at a vibration level. I'll explain in the subsequent slide. Similarly, we saw time has got four varieties we saw on the earlier slide. So wakefulness, dream, deep sleep, and restful sleep. They can also multiply with each other and you can have 16 varieties at elemental level. And similarly, consciousness, we talked about Prajna, Tejas, Vaishwanar, or inertia, intelligence, and activity. So it can also multiply with each other and can create 9 different varieties. So in all, there are 50 varieties or sound quantas or thoughts which can get generated at a vibration level or at a very, very elemental level. So I'm talking about the fundamental particles or the vibrations generated by the fundamental particles. So which particle is time, which particle is space, which particle is time will not go into the technicalities and the scientific aspect of that, but assume that or wait for another slide which will exactly show you the details of the how this breakup is carried out. But for time being, assume that there are 50 varieties. Now these 50 distinct vibrational frequencies are associated with 50 different what do you call sounds. And that's how our Barakadi, what we call it in Marathi, because others may not understand, but the Devanagari Lipi, which is emerged out of this, is emerged out of these 50 because these are 50 different frequencies which we are talking, and we are trying to associate that with the frequencies exactly matching and trying to come up with the what do you say, the different aksharas or different mantras are coming out of this science. So now let me go back to that old slide so that you guys will be able to catch up with what where we started. Otherwise, we'll get completely lost into the. So here we were talking about the elemental state. So shape, self-luminosity, and creative vibrancy. So those 50 varieties you saw, there are different shapes, I mean, different frequencies or different sound contours, self-luminosity. So some of them, they are self-luminous. For example, O, A, E, all those, some of the, we call swara. So they also mentioned Varna and Swara. If you see my, let me bring my cursor again. Varna, Swara, Matra, Balam. These are very, very, very critical concepts basically. Shape, self-luminosity, creative vibrancy, and perception of elemental states. So we are talking, we means the Taittiriya Upanishad guys are talking about very deep concept here. At a elemental state, at a vibratory state, there are certain sound frequencies which are self-luminous. Self-luminosity is very, very important. And there are others which is creative vibrancy. So matra balam, creative vibrancy. So to explain this, I had to take a very long route to go through Mandukya Upanishad, go through Shiva Sutra, and then explain those concepts and again connect it here. And that's how we are just finishing the second part of the Taittiriya Anuvak number 2. Let me now go back to where we ended there. Okay, so now if I had to go back here, now you may have some questions. I may stop here. Yes, Anand has some question here. Yes.
It's fantastic. Actually, Hemant, I will not bother you more about your definition, exact definition of consciousness, because it is very clear. It is in the earlier slide also you named it as cognition. So I perfectly understand what it means. Basically, it is the perception of the jiva in the three states essentially. So that's what you're terming as consciousness, and that's what the text also must have been. So there is no confusion anymore. Basically, so it is the level of cognition. One more thing I want to really appreciate is in the second anuvak that you mentioned, the swara, the varna, the bala, and the matra. These are what make up the Sanskrit varnakshar essentially. And this was probably due to the darshan of the rishis of this second anuvak. Probably that's how the Sanskrit varnamala must have come out basically. So this was one of the questions that I had asked Dr. Suchita Paranspe when she delivered her talk, her scholastic talk on the origins of the Sanskrit language, and she also kind of said that it must have been through the darshan of rishis. So thank you so much for bringing out exactly where this has been given in our shastra. Thank you so much.
Okay, no problem. So if no more questions, I will go to little bit on the scientific side, where I'm going to talk about E is equal to mc square and space time. I'm again going to correlate with this earlier slide actually, so that anybody has any further doubt, it will get clarified. So the first equation is the mass energy equivalence. I think it is just going automatically. Okay. So, and this is, there are two different things actually. One is the energy mass equivalence and one is space-time continent. But the good thing is they're deeply connected, and I not because I am saying it, the science is saying they're deeply connected. So if you go one layer below from energy to electromagnetic energy, and I think this is automatically going animation for whatever reason. Just give me 1 minute. So I was talking about 17 mass. If energy is electromagnetic energies, if we reduce further down to a mass in the elemental form is congealed energy, and you have 17 fundamental energy particles, and they are listed down here. You can also Google and find out. And Anand, you were asking me how are the four fundamental forces. So I think this is going too fast. Even I cannot catch up with this. I think it is just simply going. Let me just go to the normal version. Otherwise, it is just skipping the conversation here. So 17 fundamental particles. We have quarks, which are 6 types. Leptons, we have electrons, muons, taus, and their neutrinos. Another 6 plus 6, 12. Then photon and then gluon. So total 17. And then we have W and Z bosons and Higgs boson. So these are the fundamental particles coming from energy and mass to their elemental state, and not the mass as such mass, but in fact, W and Z bosons actually contribute directly from here, and Higgs boson also. Now, the four fundamental forces are magnetism, strong interaction, weak interaction, and gravity. So, each fundamental particle is associated with these four different fundamental forces, and they are the ones which actually help build the life. In the sense, life actually ultimately came, as I mentioned in the very first slide, the cosmic reality is the forces and the energies which I mentioned, and the fundamental forces. So they're the contributors to actually how we evolved actually, and we need to really understand them in a deeper way to really break that barrier and go beyond the cosmic intelligence. So this is what I'm actually trying to say here. Now, for some reason, this animation was going faster, so I will again go back into the any presentation mode. But I think the point is clear here. The only point which is missing here is so the question which I think everybody must be wondering, why energy and time are correlated. One is energy, one is time. How do I really connect them? So the connection is the quantum mechanical relationship. E is equal to hf, like this E is equal to mc square. So this equation, which is E is equal to hf, which is the inversely proportional to time, basically the frequency, that is 1 by t. So energy is directly, not directly, inversely proportional to the time. So that's how we toggle between energy, thoughts, time, and people may get completely confused that one time I'm calling time, sometime I'm calling thoughts, sometime I'm calling energy, but they're all same. Sometimes like I call Purush, sometimes Brahma, sometimes XYZ. So I think these are all, we just have to go to the basics and say that, okay, I understand these are maybe two different words I'm using, but the concept is same. And that's how we'll be able to go deeper into the understanding of the real subject. So now let me go to the next slide, which is more interesting, because we talk about E is equal to mc square, but unfortunately the consciousness is missing in this. But our scriptures talk about that consciousness. E is getting connected to mass through consciousness. In fact, consciousness, energy, and mass cannot stay together unless consciousness is there. So, again, Anand, you will say, what is the definition here? So, I will say it is just the binder, it is binding time and energy. And that's how the consciousness is working here as a binder. And everywhere, in fact, the subsequent slides will only talk about how consciousness is binding the energies. And that's how the life is created. So just hold on. You may have questions, but hold on for another couple of slides, and this topic will be clarified there. So space again reduced to energy, energy reduced to vibrations. Similarly, energy time again vibrations. Schrodinger's equation. I will not go deeper. You can Google and find out the answers, or maybe textbooks and find out the answers. Again, consciousness, vibrations, sound quantas with frequency, which we talked about earlier also, and then thoughts in the human beings. These vibrations actually work in human beings in the form of thoughts. So that's how our thoughts get generated. And that's how we try to control our thoughts through meditation, through breathing techniques. And because these 50 different thoughts, they keep bubbling, they keep bothering you, they keep coming into your mind, whether you want it or not. And how do we actually silence them, or how do we actually curb them, or get rid of them finally, is what is we are going to talk in the subsequent slides. This is Taittiriya Upanishad. Now, actually, I don't know how much time we have, but now it's already 10 o'clock. So, how much time? Another 15 minutes? Because I think I have not even finished the real stuff of the Taittiriya Upanishad. So, maybe 15-20 minutes, and then maybe 15 minutes for answers, question answers. Yes, Anand, please.
Aditya, as per our, do we really have a limit there, or what do we want to do?
No, we don't have a limit. Yeah.
How have you planned this? Yeah. Can we allow Hemant to go on for, let's say, another 30-40 minutes? Is it possible?
Yeah, I mean, there is no technical limit on Zoom session. So,
No, what's our plan? Can we go for around 40 minutes?
But also, if it is becoming too much, because where we started, where we are ending, it's a huge journey in 1 hour, 1.5 hours. So if you want to take a break, I will just take this one concept, and then maybe, because I have not even started Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya Yoga itself will take half an hour to 45 minutes. Those slides are 7 slides only. The entire Sankhya Yoga, I fixed it into, or put it into 7 slides. But we'll need a lot of deliberation, because it has taken huge amount of time for me to put them into such a condensed version, to simplify and put it into some animation or some kind of PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, I think we should go on. Aditya, if it is technically possible to just continue without personal presence, is it possible? That way.
yeah, I mean, we can continue, and it depends upon if Hemant wants to split into two parts, we can have a follow-up session also if this is becoming too long.
Um, um, It actually, we can, it would be great if it just gets delivered in one. But I'm asking you whether you can allow a recording or whatever supervision to happen without you being present, so
No,
that
no, 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 no.
nobody.
I'll be present, but yeah, we can continue. It depends upon how long Hemant
No,
wants.
so
Okay,
so
Hemant,
what
what's
I'll
your?
do is
Can we? Yeah.
no, no, it will take time. So because I
Huh.
am going very slow now because I
Yes.
thought initially that I will just run through all the slides, but I think it will not be good on my part to just rush through and because you guys
Oh,
will then keep struggling ki what I said. I mean, maybe it is just like a textbook then kind of a message. I don't want to give a textbook kind of message here. So let me finish this and then we'll stop. Okay. Maybe few more questions we'll take. Okay.
awesome.
So this is the Samhita we call it, which is the what it says is let us together attain to peak of experience. Let's experience the life energy in space together. Only then we will be able to express the secret of existential balance. So this is the existential balance which I will talk about very quickly. The Samhita denotes the existential balance of energies of thoughts. It is by the existential balance of energies surrounding all around the form. From outside are the thoughts energies, which exactly balance the thoughts energies inside the form, such that exactly at the form there is a balance that sustains the appearance of the form. So I think this I'll explain with the example of a balloon. So this is a balloon. This is just a animation I have created uh, by creating 2 or 3 images. So there is water inside and there is a pressure from outside, which is exactly balancing at the form. Means the on the form or the life form, you have enough energies which are going outwards. This is what this Anuvak says. Exactly existential balance of energy surrounding all the form from outside are the thought energies which are exactly balanced the thought energies inside. So your inside and outside energies are balancing each other. Now let us increase the pressure of this balloon. I put some more water into it and the energies. I mean the balance is imbalanced and then the form changes. So this is the summary of the Samhita where all those energies which I talked about in my first Anuvak, they are balanced to each other. The day that balance is gone, the form is gone in the sense that you go to the next form. So there is a continuous process of one form to another form to third form till the form lives till the time the energies are balanced. The day the energies are into some kind of imbalance, the form changes the form. It gets into another form. So that is so why are we spending so much time on this? So if that process is continuous, then who will understand this process? So we have to step outside and see this whole process from outside of the birth, rebirth, or whatever death, and come out of that whole sequence and let those energies not change the shape and take the next form. And that's what is our efforts actually, correct? So that is what we are trying to understand the whole process, that why these energies are balanced, how they are balanced, how can they remain intact, what is the way I can come out of them. So all these things will come into the actual analysis of how we handle and how we understand those energies. So this was just simple example. Now if we take the subtle bodies and the gross bodies balancing the forces, the Samhita I will explain, and then space is associated with creation while time is associated with destruction. So we talked about two types of energies at elemental stage time, elemental stage space. So time is destructive. So the space is creative, which also we in our mythology also we talk about the same thing. Creation and destructions are continuously happening in the universe at all levels, from smallest particle to every very large galaxies. They all have finite life. In spite of this continuous creation and destruction process, there still is a dynamic balance, stability, and equilibrium in the universe. Creative forces originating from space and balancing out destructive forces originating from time. So, what are these forces? Let us see quickly. Okay. Now, in the Samhita, they have talked about four agencies. One is called the Purva Rupam, means northern forms. Sorry, Purva Rupam is eastern forms. So here it is mentioned eastern forms. And Uttara Rupam, which is called the northern forms. So in our body, the energies are aligned in two different orientations. One is called the eastern forms, one is called the northern forms. Two different. So one is more vibratory, one is less vibratory, but one is more dominating than the other. So there are multiple features about these two this thing, but they meet at one point, which is called Sandhi. So the place where they meet is called Sandhi, and then the agency which binds them or holds them together is called Sandhanam. So all the subsequent Anuvaks will find different kinds of Uttararupam, different kinds of Purvarupam, different kinds of Sandhis, different kinds of Sandhanam, and then the grand, what is a existential balance between them, which holds the form. And once we understand them, that's a kind of a path to our understanding the spirituality and how do we go beyond these different energies, or at least understand them and then make use of them to really go on a spiritual path. So I think here I will stop, because there are five different sanhitas which I had to explain. Then I had to explain the Sankhya Yoga, and then I have to conclude. So I don't think we have that much time. So I guys, thank you very much. I really appreciate all of you patiently listening to my one-way delivery, though there were some questions, and I'm sure there will be many questions in everybody's mind. At least if I am able to generate that much curiosity, I think I will call myself successful in achieving my objective. And if I have given some additional insight, that is the added bonus. So thank you very much.
Um, Aditya, if you're taking questions from from YouTube live chat or whatever, you may want to give them the priority.
Yeah, so no, so there is just one question that was asked about time, and the question is that time is after the, as it was explained, the Big Bang, and then all the processes that happened, and then finally the manifestation, full manifestation happened in time, and the journey explained was again back in time. So the question really is that if time has come out of Brahma, can Brahma be achieved by going back in time when the time itself is a product of Brahma? Hemant, did you get the question?
Yeah. Let me just bring my, yeah.
Okay.
Now I can see everyone. You can see me also.
Yes.
Okay, so I never said go back in time. I said go back in understanding the process from where you came. Even my example of from milk to buttermilk to ghee was not going back in time. I said go back in understanding from where you came. So I never said go back in time. You have to understand so that you are automatically going back towards your origin. You may call it going back in time, but it's not going back in time. It's going back in your understanding. How you, from where you came, how your energies got formed, how you are in the current form you have come. So if I had to understand to that, go to that stage first, I have to understand what energies I have, how are they structured, from where they came, what was their origin, where is my subtle body, how subtle body behaves, how my gross body behaves, how they are formed, what is dominant in my subtle body, from where the ahankar comes, who creates karma, because everybody talks about creating karmas. good karma, bad karma. Who is this? Is it Ahankar creating that? Is it subtle body creating that? Is it gross body creating those karmas? I need to understand this. Other, if I don't understand, how will I? I never said go back in time. I said go back in your understanding from where you came.
Okay. The second question actually I had was, you talked about the gross body and the subtle body. You did not mention the causal body, the current sharir. Any reason particular, or where does it fit into the equation, or all the entities that you described in your slides?
Yeah, so it is very nicely explained in Sankhya Yoga. There are in Taittiriya Upanishad they call it Panchakosha, or you have. Let me bring that slide. In fact, we have not covered it, but it was there in my slide. So the five entities which I explained in my framework, there are associated bodies with each of them, which I would have covered in subsequently. So subtle body may not be just one kosha. It may have further koshas into it, which I would have explained subsequently. So, what broader understanding I'm calling subtle bodies, a group of seven, a group of eight, and as a group of 16, I called as a gross body. But there are further differentiation into that. So, I agree with you. So, those will come in the subsequent slides.
Okay.
Uh,
Anand, you
if I can, yeah, if I
yeah,
can go, yeah.
yeah.
Actually, Hemant, see, I personally am really, really enjoying this presentation, and I can actually feel that this is coming from your personal meditation, cogitation, or whatever, the distillation of this knowledge into the milk of understanding. So we are really requesting you to continue, and if it is possible, I mean, we can go on successive Saturdays if you can give us the time. That way, the continuity will remain, and our link of those concepts or the way that you are taking us on this journey will also remain. So if it is possible with you, let's keep it as a series till you can complete it. What do you say?
No, whatever I have prepared 50 slides, I have only that much. I don't have anything beyond that because it needs time na, to put together this. It takes hours and hours
Uh,
because you may find these slides just simple, but I have to put thoughts together to simplify it. It takes time. So I have prepared so far 50 slides. I think I guess I covered about 25 or so. Let me see. About 30 slides I covered today. Yes.
yeah, what I'm saying is if you can complete the remaining in the next session, that's what I was requesting you.
Yeah.
Can we do that, on a Saturday, next Saturday maybe, or maybe a couple of Saturdays later? What do you say?
Yeah. Let me think. I will confirm it. No problem.
Sure, sure, great. Because see, this is really original, and you're also going to give us the connection between the modern science and the knowledge of the Taittiriya and the Sankhya as well, right? You're going to give us the connection between these two as well. So we
Correct.
are
Correct.
interested, really interested in understanding this, and the relation between E is equal to mc squared and E is equal to hf. Those things are also, I mean, need to be understood properly in the light of the Sankhya and the Taittiriya. So if you can continue, maybe next Saturday or next to next, so that continuity, our continuity remains as we try to understand you. So we request you to kindly shower your knowledge on us as quickly as possible, if you don't mind. So yeah, so okay. So I guess due to time shortage, logistics shortage, and we have people sitting in the US as elsewhere who are helping us, making this happen. We'll have to unfortunately terminate here. So I hand it back to Aditya to please take it from here. Thanks.
Yeah, so as Anand said, we'll have a follow-up session to at least have the full preview of the 50 slides and your hard research that you have done for the last 35 years. And we will also, in the meanwhile, because the subject was, I would say, not complicated, but complex. So we'll go over the presentation one more time through the YouTube link, and come well prepared with more questions, because I think we need to first understand it deeply, all the different aspects and of time, space, consciousness, and the other elements that you mentioned. And maybe it will be a good study for people to actually look at the original Sanskrit text of the Taittiriya and the Bhagavad Gita, the Saankhya Yoga, and try to correlate these two and do our own research before we come prepared for your next session. So thanks a lot, Hemant, for your time, and we will looking forward to continue in the next sessions. Thank you.
Thank you.